Hi, I'm Geoff, and welcome back to xHanky Lifestyle TV. We're back with another quick and easy recipe today. We're going to be making sweet lemon slice. So let's get started. Let's start by preparing the base. I'm just taking half a cup of icing sugar here, and I'm just adding that into a mixing bowl. Now take a cup and a bit, or around a cup and a half of standard flour, and just add that into the bowl as well. And then I'm adding 100 grams or so of melted butter. Just melt the butter in the microwave, it makes it a bit easier. Now we just want to mix this thoroughly until it becomes a little bit doughy. You can use a food processor for this, but I prefer not to use food processors because they're a little bit messy for me, so I'm just going to get in there and use my hands to do it. Once that's mixed, you've got the main component of the base. So line a baking dish and spread the base mixture into the dish, spread it out, press it down, and make sure you push it into the corners of the tray. It's really important to compress the base, so once you've got it in there, give it a good push and make sure it's nice and flat. You want to push as much air out of there as possible. I like to line the baking dish. You might not. You could put butter into a dish or something like that, but I tend to line it because it's much cleaner, and you'll see later on when I take it out what it looks like. Okay, so let's get that in the oven. So we'll just put that in the oven to pre-cook the base for around 15 minutes at 150 degrees Celsius. I guess that's around 340 or so degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, let's get going on the topping. So what I'm using here, I've got 3 large lemons, and I'm going to use the juice from those lemons to give us the flavour. So juice your lemons. You might want 3, you might want 5, you might want 2. Depends how lemony you like it, so adjust that to taste. Obviously I needed 3 lemons because I spilt about one of them as I was trying to get it in the bowl there. Lemons are great for making a slice. They've got just that right mixture of tartness and sweetness once you add a bit of sugar to them. So I'm adding a little bit of pulp in there as well, and make sure that you remove the seeds. It's pretty easy to accidentally get a few seeds in there. Now I also like to not waste the lemon zest, so take your lemon skins and just grate a little bit of lemon skin off, and we'll add that in as well to intensify the flavour of the lemon. Okay, so we've got our little bit of lemon zest there. Let's collect that up and get it in with the rest of the ingredients into the mixing bowl. Now we want this topping to thicken up as we cook it, so one of the really easy ways to do that is I'm just adding a couple of tablespoons of custard powder. So add that in, and when we mix that up and eventually cook it, it'll thicken up just nicely. And also adding some sugar. I guess some people would use caster sugar or normal sugar. I'm using raw sugar here. I can't really tell the difference, so I prefer raw sugar. So add that in. and a teaspoon also of baking powder is the final ingredient before we put in the eggs. Now break 3 raw eggs into the bowl with the rest of the ingredients. The eggs together with the baking powder are going to thicken up the topping, and they give a really nice texture. And of course they conduct the flavour of the lemon really, really well. Once again, let's mix that up. I'm just using a whisk because it's my preferred method for mixing pretty much anything in the kitchen. So mix, mix, mix until the topping is nice and smooth. And we don't want any lumps in there. This should probably look about the consistency of custard before you cook it, or even just the omelette batter when you make an omelette. Now let's remove the base from the oven. It's been cooking for 15 minutes. It's starting to get a little bit, it's starting to harden up. And now just basically pour the topping mixture over the top of the base while it's still hot. Once you've got in there, now we'll get it back into the oven and we'll cook it at about 150 to 160 degrees Celsius, or about 350 degrees Fahrenheit, for around 20 to 25 minutes, just to allow the topping to set. Once it's all set, remove it from the oven and just let it cool. And here you'll see the advantage of lining that dish. You can just take the whole slice out with the baking paper, and then what we want to do is we just want to cut that into squares after it's cooled down. You don't want to go cutting a hot slice. So you obviously let it cool down until it's around room temperature for this. And now just cut it into whatever kind of squares you like. Some people like big slices of cake. I prefer to have the little slices. And if you've got kids, you probably want little slices too. So you can get quite a few slices out of this. I think I can probably get about 30 or more even out of this this particular slice. So it's cut into squares, and then we just add it to our favourite cake container, and that'll keep either in the cupboard or the fridge, probably for, well, quite a number of days at least. I'm using my favourite baking paper again to just line the dish, and you get several layers. It's starting to look really good. And there you have it, Geoff's sweet lemon slice. This is great to keep on hand to go with your afternoon tea or your kids' lunches. Hope you enjoyed the video, and hope you try and enjoy this recipe. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments below, and like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe and ding the bell if you'd like to see more of this kind of content.